Hello, everyone. I hope all is well with you. I am Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, also known as the Black Yul Brenner. I should say that the purpose of the Demetra K show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we're great people, but we can always try to do better. Like I said, big giant thank you, hello, and welcome to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Also, thank you to my wonderful moderators for all that you do and holding down the comment section. Would not and could not do this without you. Today, we're going to be talking about Kamala Harris saying that she is not done and that she may run for president again. I'm going to show y'all a clip of her having a conversation with the BBC when that question was posed to her. So we're going to spend some time having a conversation about the possibilities of another Kamala Harris run in 2028 and all of that. In the process, let's see who is here. Joe, how you doing? LL, what's going on with you? EC, how are you? I'm just gonna say hello to everybody. I won't read your comments just yet. Pookie, how you doing? FF, what's going on with you? Let's see who else. African Native, how you doing? Diane in the building. One who cares. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for all that you do. Nikki the guy, what is up with you? And Chloe, I hope I said that right. How you doing? Clifford, Vanessa, Randy, and Mr. Ernest. I should also say before we get started, many prayers to that of Jamaica as they are bracing themselves for Category 5 hurricane. They said it's going to be the worst the island has ever seen. If it indeed does hit, that it's never seen anything like it, and it's going to be a lot going on, a lot of casualties and things like that. And they said that the island, there's no way that they could prepare to sustain what may happen. Allegedly, the clouds or the hurricane per se will just sit. The aftermath of the hurricane will sit. There's no wind really to push it. So it is said that it will sit on top of the island for a couple of days, causing major devastation. So our prayers out to them. Also, it says that Haiti may catch some of that, and Cuba as well. So we're hoping that the hurricane does not do what they have projected it to do, but it doesn't look good for Jamaica. So, Donovan?
Yes. My brother's a hurricane hunter, and he's working involuntarily as the government is still shut down, and it's been about a little bit over a month, and that storm is going right through. I think the last time Jamaica was devastated like that was Hurricane Ivan in the late 80s or something like that. It really messed it up, the area. But it is hurricane season. Hurricane season runs till, I think, the middle of November or late November. So we've been in that season for over 6 months now. So here we go. But hey, you guys, great that you guys are back with us. Again, we learn just as much from you guys as you guys do from us. Hopefully we can give you some knowledgeable information. Long story short, to have these great conversations, we have a scrolling banner at the bottom. If you want to keep these great conversations going and want to motivate the content creator to keep going, hey, buy her a cup of coffee if you want to do all that. And if you want to donate past a cup of coffee, maybe a soda or something like that, or maybe a nice Budweiser, you could do so. But you can do so by Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, cash money order, however you guys want to do it. Also, please, if you guys, please, we keep hollering and screaming about Black owned this, Black owned that. Why don't we have our own Black app? Why don't we have this? Why don't we have that? We do have our own Black app. It's called the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play, Apple Store. Not only do you get continued great videos from this person sitting right next to me, you get videos from Vicky Dillard, Phil Scott, Wongale, and a whole host of contributors from the African Diaspora Network within themselves. Also, remember the algorithm, what you see in the algorithm, you're not going to see certain videos that is specific to the app. So if you want to really know what's really going on in the African Diaspora, the African Diaspora News app, Google Play, Apple Store is the way to go. This is an interesting conversation, Demetra. I'm going to let you go ahead and take it from here. I have an opinion about it. And by the way, you guys, I know I look tired. I know I look busted. I'm a little under the weather, but I'm going to get to this. So let's get into it.
Hey, Kimberly, I have seen that video. I've been kind of following it a little bit. It is very strange. So has it been determined that they are Haitians? I guess because during the time I was following it, didn't seem like people really knew or what they were, but it was very strange. It was a field of elderly Black people, maybe all ages, but the woman that he showed, she was, pretty up there in age. They were working in the field, looked like they were picking green beans or something, but there was two trucks rather sitting kind of watching them. And then when the brother panned the camera rather to the trucks took off. So it was kind of odd because people were wanting to know, were they being forced to work in those fields? So I haven't followed it since last week, but I tend to jump back into it. But yeah, I am aware of that situation. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. And Arson, how you doing? Who else? Jay Bubba, what's going on with you? Glad to see you here. And Brother Reggie of Ends and Ancestors, how you doing? Yes, indeed. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So Kamala Harris, as you guys may or may not know, she ran to be the president of the United States in 2019 and 2024. In fact, last year, 2024, she kind of jumped in 107 days to be exact, left before the actual election. Now, before that, President Joe Biden kept saying that he was going to run, but he eventually dropped out due to kind of some things come to fruition in regards to his cognitive health. Of course, that became kind of, I guess, more clear during the debate that he had with Trump, where people was like, oh, okay, now all the suspicions are kind of out there that he's not all there per se. So from that, even after those that debate, it took him a minute to drop out, and so yes, he did. And I'm in a process of reading her book. It's taking me for a long time because I got a lot of stuff to do. But yeah, he indeed did call her, and he had called her actually before they announced. Called her and said, you know, I'm obviously not going to be able to do this. It kind of sounds like she knew, not going to be able to do this, but I'm going to, you know, put you in per se. And she said she told Joe, well, you're going to have to do it right away because people talk. And if it gets out there, you know, we wanted to kind of all get out there at the same time that you're endorsing me while you are dropping out. So that's kind of what they did. But it was conversations before the 107 days. So nevertheless, she got out there in campaign. She raised over $1 billion. Unfortunately, her campaign was about $20 billion in debt. But it does sound like somehow the debt got settled. The FEC filing shows her at zero debt. Now, there are some rumblings of different vendors and things saying that they weren't paid, but as it shows, there is no debt. But anyway, during this interview that she had with the BBC, and forgive me, I don't know the lady's name. I think her name will come up. She was asked this particular question.
In terms then of what is next for you, you write very powerfully about the differences that many women have made to your life, whether that was your meeting with Angela Merkel or the experience of growing up with your extraordinary mother or the stories of your baby nieces, Amara and Leela. When are they going to see a woman in charge in the White House?
In their lifetime, for sure.
Could it be you? Possibly. Have you made a decision yet?
No, I have not.
But you say in your book, I'm not done.
That is correct. I am not done. I have lived my entire career a life of service, and it's in my bones. And there are many ways to serve. I've not decided yet what I will do in the future beyond what I'm doing right now.
But you've been very clear that it's a possibility you might run again to become president. And in my experience interviewing politicians, when someone says I'm not done, it means they are thinking seriously about running. But when you look at the bookies' odds, they put you as an outsider, even behind Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I mean, is that underestimating you?
I think there are all kinds of polls that will tell you a variety of things. I've never listened to polls. If I listened to polls, I would have not run for my first office or my second office. And I certainly wouldn't be sitting here in this interview.
Okay. So as you heard there, it basically started off with a simple question of, you know, are you done? And she says pretty much no. And she hasn't officially made the announcements, but she did say that her nieces or baby nieces, great nieces they are, would see a female president in their lifetime. Will it be her? I don't know. But of course, y'all heard her. Laura is her name. Bring up the fact that she would be polling behind Dwayne Johnson, if you will. And of course, Kamala says that she never listens to polls. Now, people like to say she's never been primary. That's not true. She has been primary. She was primary twice in California as AG and as a senator. And she bested her opponents in that. So she has actually been primary. And she also was primary the first time in 2019. But that did not go over well for her. As we know, she ended up dropping out. But this particular time, no, she was not primary as, you know, essentially, there would not have been any time from what I'm reading in her book, no time to really primary anybody. So she was thrown in there due to name recognition and also being in the White House at that time. So the question that I have is for y'all and for Donovan, what does a 2028 look like for Kamala? Will she win? Now, I should also say I was doing a little research of my own, put her name up against a couple of people, Gavin Newsom to be one of them, because there's a lot of people who may or may not be running on the Democratic side. Of course, you know, Steve Bannon keeps saying that Trump is going to stay in office, right? He's going to give another term, but she doesn't do that well against Gavin Newsom. if they were to try to primary together for the Democratic nomination. Also looked, and there's some polls that say that she would beat Trump if he runs again. He can't, constitutionally speaking. But if she was to go up against him, she'd have a chance of beating him, or they may be even, or whatever the case is. So there's a lot of things to talk about. Donovan?
The simple answer to the fact of the matter is, if she ran, that would be a gift basket to the Republican Party, and you would look at a possible 8 years post-Trump of Republican rule. That's exactly what would happen, because usually when you're an incumbent, the chances of re-election in incumbency, we've had back-to-back presidents since Obama, Trump being a split, and I think Biden, because of his age, is too old. So that's in our lifetime, or in recent history, that is the only time a president hasn't served two terms within a certain cycle. But that would be a gift basket for the Republicans. And then think about it, hypothetically, if J.D. Vance ran, hypothetically, he'd beat her draws off, basically. And you're looking at 8 more years of Republican rule. So if you like the Republicans, you don't like them, you don't like what they're doing, whatever, to run Kamala Harris would be the biggest mistake the Democrats would make. And I'm not taking anything away from Kamala as a person. The fact of the matter is, like Demetra, we were saying back in 2019, when she first launched a presidential campaign, she is a very bad candidate. She's a very bad candidate. She cannot interview. Her baggage and her liabilities are too much to overcome. Now, the only reason she got the high profile, in my opinion, in this last election is, number one, she didn't go through a primary section. It was dropped in her lap, which to me is totally undemocratic. People talk about democracy and fascism and dictators. When you are given a candidate and told to vote for that candidate, there's nothing less democratic than that. So with her being put out there, she had, her excuse of she didn't have enough time, that is total bogus. That's total bogus. That's what I'm saying. She takes no responsibility for anything that she does. This woman successfully fails upward. She was busted about being a Black woman. She keeps changing the narrative. And I don't know what it is with people who like people lying to them and stuff, and like doing that kind of stuff. Her record shows who she is. She was the border czar, that was her task. Of course, she failed miserably at that. This woman keeps failing up. My opinion is this: if this woman runs, you guys have seen her in interviews. You guys have seen her. Number one, she can't explain Joe Biden's condition and who was running the country in the 4 years that Joe Biden was there. She is on video saying he is the most sharpest, he is the this, and he is that. There's too many liabilities, and and like I said, nothing against her as a person, but this woman, you guys have seen her in interviews. She is a very bad candidate, and she has too many liabilities within her basket that would, no, it just ain't going to happen. But what do you guys think?
Yes, indeed. Brother Jonell, how you doing? Hope that you're having a great day. So I saw one person on here said that they might vote for her. Okay, and a lot of y'all really just want her to go away. So let me read some of these comments. And Glenn, how you doing? Says, thanks for sharing this topic. I really appreciate it a lot. Well, I appreciate you. OB WAP, how you doing? Says, Kamala can have all the seats except for the one in the Oval Office. Let's see. And Vanessa, did I say hello to you? If not, hello. Tracy says, as bad as Ish is, once again, I can't vote for her, just like I can't do the Republicans. And let's see. Capcom, how you doing? Says, Couch will get my vote again. Okay, Brother Don, how you doing? CJ, how you doing? Says, I think Gavin Newsom is trying to run. Hasn't said anything officially, but it looks like, he may be, gearing up to try to do that. But then again, what does that really look like? Tracy says, Trump fails upwards and a liar also. Once again, our option to trash. Ursa, how you doing? He says the
Yeah, wait, let me say something Tracy on that. Yeah, Trump did all that, but guess what? Trump can't run again, so she's not going to be going up against the Donald Trump in the next cycle. But here's my prediction, because Demetra, who was the only one that said Trump was going to beat her in a blowout? Who was the only one that said that?
Well, you weren't the only one, but you said
well, I'm talking about between our group. I said she was going to lose in a blowout, right? So guess what? She's not going to go up against Trump. She's going to go up against somebody else, maybe JD Vance or somebody else. So taking Trump out of it, you guys remember, it's over for Trump. It's done. So the Trump derangement syndrome, if you have that, it's done. He can't run. And number two, he's too old, so he'll be gone. She's going to run against a whatever different person, which changes the whole dynamic of how she's going to approach, even if she makes it through the primary. And you guys, on this show right now, I'm saying this: Kamala will not make it through a primary. I said it on this day. Remember it.
Well, there's a couple things going on here. So you're telling us that Trump ain't running. You need to tell that to Steve Bannon. Steve Bannon is repeatedly saying that Trump, and I listen, we know constitutionally speaking, he cannot, but there's a lot of things he ain't supposed to be doing that he is doing anyway. Right now, will he actually run? I'm one of those people who are saying, I could be wrong about that, but I see military coup somewhere up the line, around the way. That's just what I'm saying, whether you like it or not. Okay, I'm saying that there might be something like that, just kind of some of the things that I'm seeing going on. But yeah, you don't need to tell us that he ain't running again. You need to tell Steve Bannon that he's not running again. Somebody made a comment about her being in Biden's shadow. Just reading her book, not going off of what everybody is saying, just reading her book. Doesn't sound like Biden nor his wife ever liked Kamala at all. It stemmed from the 2019 primaries that they had, where she basically called him a racist. She says, I was that girl, this, that, the other. So it sounds like Dr. Jill Biden never forgave her. And it doesn't even sound like they really even talked after she took over the nomination, if you will, to run for 2024, because they felt like, in a sense, she stabbed him in the back or something like that, which is kind of odd. But yeah, so I think she was just kind of going with the talking points from what she's saying, the talking points that they gave her, because not to defend Kamala, Lord knows I ain't trying to do that, but she wasn't the only one that was lying for Biden. All of the DNC was lying for Biden. Every last one of them were, until, I think it was Jake Trapper. No, he came out afterwards, but basically said they all knew. And then that's when everybody kept saying, well, yeah, we do type thing, but nobody wanted to be the one to say anything. And in fact, she said too with Gavin Newsom, when, she was first put in for Biden, say he never even called her back. So I don't know what's going on with that, but that would be pretty interesting, a primary with them too.
Yeah, real quick. What's her name? Pookie 8729, longtime, or not a longtime listener, but one of our great co-hosts. She says that they're constantly breaking the Constitution. I hear that all the time, but isn't the question is, if they're breaking the Constitution so badly, shouldn't the question be, what are you going to do about it? What are we going to do about it? If they're breaking the Constitution, like a lot of people keep saying, okay, a lot of people say it. Oh, he's breaking the Constitution. What are you as an American going to do about it? Sit on your hands? What are you going to do about it? That's the question we need to ask ourselves.
I mean, yeah, and I think pretty soon that question will be answered. I don't think that's why I said I think maybe, we've already seen some of the people in the military, the generals, like one of them, I don't know his name, so don't call me. He was like, yeah, I can't do this because, of course, y'all know that Trump, and let me finish.
Yeah, it was Admiral,
whatever he is. We know that they're going about killing people in the Caribbean seas, if you will. And they're saying that they're drug smugglers. They have absolutely no idea if they're that at all. In fact, many people have called them snuff videos. One guy was just a fisherman. I think he was Colombian, if I'm not mistaken, as a fisherman, and they bombed him, right? It's like, come on, man. Y'all don't even know who these people are. And I guess two of the people who survived or something, I don't know. So sounds like they've done it like 8-9 times, just filming and bombing little fishing boats. So there's a lot going on there. Jay Bubba says, I would vote for her in the primary so she get the nomination so I can vote against her in the election. You crazy. Lita, how you doing? Says, absolutely hell no. Find somebody else. Dwayne, how you doing? Says, she can't answer basic questions. That I would agree. Even, sounds like now it's hard for her to answer questions. Let's see. Ernest says, the people have already spoken. They do not want to see a Kamala Harris presidency. She failed then and she will fail now. Only a fool does the same thing and expect a different outcome. Thank you, Nate. I appreciate that. I have seen a lot of people online. I've talked to a few people, not many, that said that they would entertain voting for Kamala Harris. And I think they say that because of what is going on now. I think a lot of people may be having buyer's remorse and like saying, okay, well, I don't and did not like the things that she was doing. But compared to what is being done now, it's now you bring in the conversation of the lesser of two evils. I'm not saying this is me. I'm saying this is conversations that I've seen people have. So that would be interesting. I personally don't think that Kamala would make it out of a primary because I think there's a lot of other people like Gavin Newsom, people like Gavin. They're starting to like him anyway, even though some people are having an issue with him stuttering on the whole AIPAC question, right? They asked him about AIPAC influencing elections and he just didn't have an answer at all. So people are like, that's very telling because a lot of people are moving away from candidates who are backed by AIPAC. So yes. Average Logical Thinker, thank you so much for that. Love and appreciate you. A long time no see. And Nate, once again, thank you for becoming a new subscriber. Let's see. Who else haven't I seen on here? Arniba, he says, okay, so you're talking to Average Logical Thinker, but did I say hello to you? Not hello. Archie says, I agree with Demetra on this. They could find a loop around Trump running again. Yeah, I mean, they could try.
The Constitution specific. That is why the president is termed to have 2 terms. Congress doesn't want to do it for themselves. It's specific. The president can only serve 2 4-year terms. It's specific in there. There's no way around that. There's no way around that.
That is a way around it. How is there? Can anybody answer how there's a way around it in the Constitution for him to run again?
The Congress would have to vote for that. But other than that, and we know in today's political climate, that's not going to happen. It's not.
Are you reading the tea leaves at all? What's going on? It's not even. Wait. It's not even speculation. You see a lot of things that's going on. With a seat grabbing, if you will, in Texas. And other places they're trying to do it. And we know why they, being the Republicans, are trying to do it is because they're trying to stave off 2026. Also, there's a congresswoman from Arizona that has won that Mike Johnson won't even show up to work to swear her in because they do not want the Epstein files to come out because they need 1 vote and she would be that vote to bring the Epstein files, to the public or whatever the case is. So I'm saying all that to say, we know that the Republicans own Washington right now. And if they continue to do that, because right now, besides Marjorie Taylor Greene and maybe some other ones, there's not a lot of other Republicans who are sidestepping, including the United States Supreme Court, who seem to be ruling in the favor of Donald Trump. So right now, could he run again? No. But if they wanted to somehow and they had the votes to do it, to say, hey, let's give Trump another chance and change the Constitution, because again, they're the ones that can change the Constitution. If that was to happen, then what?
You need a 2/3 vote to change the Constitution and ratification by 2/3 of the states to do so. So it would never happen. And by the time it does happen, in my opinion,
I said if they got the votes to do it.
Yeah, and they're not going to have the votes because, again, it takes 2/3 of the states to do it and all that other stuff. And then by the time that even comes into fruition, he'll be long since seen. Well, he's already senile, but he'll be long into his senility.
Yeah, and I think there's some cognitive things going on there with Trump, but then some would argue just like, Trump has an auto pen for Biden with all the presidents of the picture are auto pen. I mean, same people are saying the same thing about him, that somebody got a key in his back calling the shots. And I think that's pretty evident, right? So, I mean, Trump running another term is like, is he going to be here for this one? But Nate says, I heard Marjorie Taylor Greene is running for president. I don't know. I don't sound like Republicans really like her much, because she's gotten off the talking points. Of course, she's, come out in a sense for pro-Israel. not Israel, Palestine. And she does not want to give Israel any more money. As she says, she's never taken any money from Israel. So they're trying to primary her. But that's interesting. I never thought about that. Corey, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Brother Samuel, how you doing? Says greetings. D&D. It would be interesting to ponder what the minister meant when he said Trump will be America's last president. There you go. There you go. Right. But they definitely have a plan. I mean, as I said, Steve Bannon, he keeps saying it. He's like, he said in his, not that I put a lot of weight on what Steve Bannon says, but, you know, he was like, hey, the American people just got to get used to the notion. They'll be all right. They just need to get used to it. Trump is not done. There's something, he's got a lot more things to do. But it's like, again, if you watch Trump, listen to, he's tweeted some nonsense. Was it last night or something? The night before, talking about, I can't remember who it was, but somebody rigged the election in 2020 and Biden needs to be held accountable. And people was like, wait a minute now. Whether you like it or not, homie, in 2020, you were still the president. So those people that he named, I can't remember who it was, they weren't even in any office at all when that happened. So people are like, something going on with you, homie. So there's a lot there. Animal advocate, how you doing? Says Kamala may have a chance because everyone is so traumatized. The government is shut down and repercussion it has. They really need a good candidate. And that's, I don't know if she have a chance because, you know, it's ways out 3 years from now. But yeah, a lot of people have Trump and Republican fatigue, I would say. There's a lot going on. The shutdown, they said it may go past Thanksgiving, which is a month away from now. And people are really going through it. So, and in fact, there's a lot of people who may not be able to fly because they said if the air traffic controllers do not show up to work or whatever, they'll just ground planes.
Real quick.
That some planes are not going to be able to go into Los Angeles at the state of everything that's going on now. So,
yeah, real quick. Today, this morning in Phoenix, Arizona. Yeah, it was Phoenix, Arizona. The traffickers, air traffic controllers did not show up to work and all the planes were grounded.
Yeah, so that's, but see, what happened was last time, and thank you everybody for being here. What happened last time, that's what ended the shutdown, which Trump owned the longest shutdown in history at 35 days. This is going on the 4th week, I think it is. So, you know, this also could be the longest, but the last time it was ended due to the air traffic controller saying, get somebody else to do it. So they was like, okay, we need to come to a consensus here. But it sounds like Trump is digging in and saying, I don't care. We're not meeting with the Democrats. They need to, you know, give in to what we want, basically. But the air traffic controllers aren't going to control it this time. So Trump is basically saying we'd rather have planes or trips canceled and things like that and planes grounded before we give in. So it's going to get real nasty.
Yeah, and for those guys that don't understand aeronautics, the way it works like a clock. You can't have a bunch of planes inbound and there's a bunch of planes still on the ground. So when the Phoenix didn't show up today, all the planes that were supposed to come scheduled to come to Phoenix had to stay at their gates, and it's a paper effect. It's a domino effect. So it's going to affect all the air traffic throughout the world, actually, but especially here in the United States.
And one unique Monique, how you doing? Says if Kamala runs in 2028, JD Vance won't have any competition. I think people are tired of JD Vance too. JD Vance, in a sense, I think is worse. And they didn't kind of really show his true colors until they really kind of got in there. But yeah, JD Vance is worse. He co-signs racism outright. He doesn't try to hide it at all. He's very out in the open. Of course, y'all saw with the young Republicans when they got caught in that racist rant thread that they had. He was like, I don't see what the big deal is. There's some kids. There's no sense of, you know, and I'm paraphrasing, but ruining some kids' lives. Now, mind you, they was in their big 30s. So it's like, are they kids? And when they, you know, talking about that kind of stuff, and you haven't heard anything else about it since. So yeah, JD Vance, he's a character.
Yeah, but you know, again, I love these conversations. I love that we are talking about it. And a lot of people, regardless of your opinion or what side of the issue you're on, the whole point is we're having this discussion and we're all aware. We might have difference of opinions. But here's my question, Demetra, into the chat. A rise of a Donald Trump happened twice non-consecutively. At the end of the day, knowing what you knew then, and here we are today, Obviously, here in America, there is a number of people, Cubans included, Latinos included, I will vote for Donald Trump, that have voted to put this country in the situation it's in. And what is the option? What is the other option? Now, personally, I voted for Trump because I'm not for the status quo. That's number one. When the status quo keeps Black people at the bottom, I would be a damn fool to continue to vote for nothing that the Democrats are offering me. This conversation that we are having, I hope you guys will share it on your platforms. This is awakening for Black people, because guess what? Now we see, because we weren't paying attention, myself included, what could happen when we do not engage in civil politics at the local levels. Now we see, and hopefully we will teach our kids and our grandkids to do better than we did.
K-Mac, how you doing? Says, in the event of war, the president will remain in office. So again, we're seeing other
avenues. That is not true. That is not true. That's, Demetria, let me just quantify this. That is not true. We are not, no, that is not true. The president, in a time of war, the president stays in office. That's not true. That is not true. That in Israel, it's true, but in ours, no. That's why during the Vietnam War, let's go more recently. LBJ started the war in Vietnam, right? Did he stay? No, he left and Nixon took over. In our country, the president, it doesn't matter, only can serve 2 consecutive 4-year terms. And if the other president takes over for the one, a good example, when Bush left office, Obama took over. When Obama was bombing and doing whatever he was doing, right, in Libya, who took over after that? That was Trump. And he continued those policies because we are dealing with neocons. The point is, the president could only serve 2 terms, and that happened after FDR. We've never really been in a situation where like a president continued. It can't happen. He can only serve those 2 terms.
Got it. Brother Joe Nelly says, money is America's politics. Money talks, and the American government is pure whore for money. Absolutely. At the end of the day, if you know, you know, right? It's about the money. 48 TCO, he says, it won't happen if we are to believe the Bible, the Antichrist. It ain't him. Yeah, everybody thinks they know who the Antichrist is, and he may or may not know. He kind of look like he could be JD Vance to me. If I was envisioning an Antichrist, that's what he would look like. Black Butterflies, how you doing? Says Abraham, Isaac, Israel, or Jacob is the founding fathers of founding fathers. Jesus is a Jew from the line of David, Judah, so on, and George Washington is the founding fathers of this country. Okay, lovely. How you doing? Says, I'm not going to sit here and do something for just Black people. No, Kamala, Dobby, Harris, Black folks never learn. Or you can best believe there's a whole lot of Black people waiting to vote for Kamala. You can best believe that. Who else haven't I seen on here? Bernard, how you doing? Says, hey, Queen, she won't get my vote, period. Okay. Brother Reggie says, a good candidate. Well, she ain't it. Renz, how you doing? Angela, what's going on with you? The truth is, says, Commandment can't run again because the Bible is calling her. Pookie says, no candidate is saying they're going to do something for us, neither side. That is true. I agree. Jerry, how you doing? Says, looking at the comments, no wonder the Dems have a chokehold on the Black vote, because I swear it's easy to work to manipulate Black women. Well, I haven't seen any Black women in here saying that they will vote for Kamala. I saw one person, and admittedly, I don't know if they were a man or a woman, but I haven't seen anybody say that they would do that. But let's keep it a buck. The Democrats have the Black vote, and I think they'll have the Black vote in 2028 as well, especially with a lot of the stuff that is going on from the Trump administration, the way it's being played out anyway. But that's not new, right? Whether it was Kamala or whoever it is, the Democrats have always had, well, for a long time, they've had the Black vote anyway. So, yeah. Rodney, how you doing? Thank you so much. I hope you're doing well. Arneva says, kudos to the air traffic controllers. Yes, indeed. I mean, not getting paid. And then there's an issue too, that somebody is giving Trump $150 million to pay the salary of the military. Is like, are you kidding me? Sounds like it'd be $100 a piece. So many people are wondering, okay, where is this money coming from? It sounds like they answered. I can't remember who it was, but they found out who it's coming from. But it's like, okay, they're going to get $100 a piece. What's really going on? Are you really going to give this to the military, or like what's going on? $150 million. It said that what it's cost billions of dollars every 2 weeks to pay the military's salary. So 150 million is like, come on, man, what's going on?
Well, maybe it's the same thing as Karen Bass, that she has those unknown donors that are going to pay for the illegal migrants who are afraid to go to work. We don't know where that money is coming from.
Yeah, but you can't. I hear what you're saying, but you can't, because Karen Bass is the mayor of LA, and she's doing a suck-ass job as far as Black people, the two of them that are there, okay? But you can't keep trying to marry because somebody says Trump does something. Oh, well, they doing something in California, because the truth of the matter is it's an insult to the military personnel to say y'all gonna get $100 damn for not getting paid, and you got military personnel that's gonna be in them damn super lines. So to say, oh, well, Karen is doing it, how does that make it fair for the military who was supposed to be nonpartisan?
Yeah, well, the thing is, the military has always been vastly underpaid. Believe me, I know. And Demetra, I'm ashamed of you right now. You guys, I'm ashamed of Demetra, for somebody who has been on that base several times and should know every loophole like I do. You know, for her to sit here and act like she don't know what the hell is going on. You know, the military is vastly underpaid. You know that.
And $100 is an insult. Like, here, well, they can give you a little something while the military is shut down. But, you know, you want the military to be bombing fishermen in the water and then, you know, showing up to different things, but you giving them $100 funky. The way I would say, if you don't stick it up your orange behind and spin, I would. You know, but they know most people won't put two and two together. It's like, okay, with all the military personnel and what the budget is actually, you know, per every time they get paid is $150. Ooh, I'm gonna give them $150 or $1 million for all of us. Like, come on now. But they know people will applaud that.
Well, tell that to the women that be wanting child support from these troops, wanting this vast amount of money, knowing that we ain't got it.
What? Johan, how you doing? He says Obama calls out the riots and he was the deporter in chief, and I think he still is. At this point, you know, when it comes to who's deported the most in modern day time. So yeah, let's see. African Native says academically you are taught a lesson before your mistakes are corrected. In life, you learn a lesson after people correct your mistakes. Either way, you learn a lesson. I co-signed it, whatever that was. I co-signed it. Georgia, how you doing? It says first and foremost. And average logical thinker says, yeah, literally seen presidents change out while in active war. Absolutely. 48 TCO says, teach the people, Donovan. And Ursa, he says, Vietnam was a conflict. War wasn't declared. JJ says, U.S. still has elections during wartime. Lincoln was reelected during the Civil War. That is true. Norma, how you doing? Says, peace and love, Black Americans. The question is, are we ready to create a marketplace where everyone thrives, or are we waiting for the military to fight Venezuelans and Colombians? Yeah, because what's going on with that, right? Donovan, you have anything to say? Okay. Eddie, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Sherry, what's going on with you? Says, thank you, Donovan, because I'll be damned if I continue voting Democrats so they can help everybody else but us. Yeah, you know, and that's another thing as well. The Democrats, regardless of who runs, they need the Black vote. They need the Black vote. And unfortunately for them, there are a lot of Black people waking up. Now, will they still get the lion's share of the Black votes? Yeah, I think they will. Will they get as much as they've been getting? Probably not. But they need as many as they can get, because if Kamala, who says she's a Black woman and everybody romped and stomped for her, came under Joe Biden as far as votes, as far as a Black vote, yeah, that's going to spell trouble for the next person. And I doubt they'll be Black. So, yeah. Brother Donut says, your vote better have some major economics behind it. Who can print paper, sober up, do the math? Exactly. Edwin, how you doing? Says 2028, the first AI, were you crazy? Robotic president, I thought. You never know. You might be on to something. Brother Stephen, how you doing? Says, good evening, Demetra and Donovan. Hope all is well with both of you. It is. And tell your wife we said hello. Let's see. Who else do we have on here? Alex Jackson, how you doing? Says, Kamala will still work for the establishment, and identity politics need to stop. They all work for the establishment. The establishment, the money. They all work for the establishment. Every last one of them. Trump is not working for you. Kamala was not going to work for you. Joe Biden wasn't working for you. Obama wasn't working. None of them. They're all part of the establishment. Every last one of them. One who cares says, I won't vote for Harris. Okay. Let's see. And Nate says, I definitely will vote for her again. Okay, Deborah. He says the Democrats love losing. Yeah, and even right now, unfortunately for the Democrats, they have no message. They're not on message. There's a lot of, I don't want to say it's infighting, but they just seem like they can't get on one page. Although it does seem like they're on one page in regards to not helping in the shutdown. They said they're not going to give in to the Republicans, I guess, requests or things that they want to do. And yeah, giving Argentina $40 billion while it costs, I think it's $6 billion, or I don't know what it is, a month. It's a lot less than that to help 40-something million Americans with food stamps, but they're giving money to, they want to anyway, or they already have, to Argentina. But there's people who are going to do without. So, yeah. Rodney says blacks vote against their interests all the time. Ursula says, but farmers are getting their loans, but not SNAP. Are the farmers now getting their loans? Doesn't sound like they are. No, Trump was talking about it, but did he finally make a move and getting their loans? Because the farmers I've seen say, yeah, no, they are going under. In fact, I've seen some say that they know of ones that are taking their own lives and things like that because they're losing their farms and stuff. So, and of course, y'all have heard that Trump is doing a deal with Argentina. Think about beef, buying beef from them. Of course, the American beef cattle farmers, if you will, are upset about him doing that because they're like, well, what about the beef here, right? So it's a lot going on. Johan says, are you a vote blue no matter? Why would you ask such foolishness, if you don't mind me asking? And excuse me for being so austere, but why would you ask such foolishness? And if it's your first time here, why are you asking things you have no knowledge of, if you don't mind me asking? Because see, what happens is somebody will get in the chat and say, are you a vote blue no matter who channel? Did you hear us say we was voting blue no matter who? You just heard this man say he voted for Trump. I don't tell nobody who I voted for, but I did not vote for Kamala, and I am not apologetic about that. But where on here did you hear anybody, even in the comment section, say that it was a vote blue no matter who? I'm just asking. Let's see. Bernard, he says Democrats have we'll say the black vote, but not black vote. So you said the N-word vote, but not the N-word. Okay, got you. Allie, it says, what American citizens in their right mind is going to vote for illegals to get free health care? Well, honestly, I was going to say free health care depending on where you live, but California, it's a blue state. They've done it. Up until recently, Gavin Newsom was going to spend $2.6 billion to help undocumented immigrants get health care. So, but with that, just to kind of answer your question a little bit more deeply, Black Americans have been voting for that because the Democrats don't get in office without the black vote. But we've been lining up and signing up to vote for the Democrats, and they go help everybody else while they participate in benign neglect of Black Americans. And they'll do it again. If we show up for them again, they'll do it again. Now, honestly, Kamala couldn't get my vote. Only way Kamala can get my vote is she had a strong plan for reparations or something like that. But we know she's not going to do that because she told us no, right? So I'm not one to want to vote for Kamala again. I think she's one of those people that somebody probably will put a key in her back and put her up there to run or whatever the case is. But I don't know. It all remains to be seen. Arneva says the Antichrist is the Christian church itself. The word Antichrist is hidden in the word Christianity. Good point. Tamika, how you doing? Says there's a possibility of Trump running as a VP or potential JD Vance ticket.
No, I just put it up what the Constitution specifically just said. A person who has been president cannot run for it. You've been elected twice as president, cannot be run for vice president or be put on ticket for a third term. If they've served one term as president for over 2 years, they can't run for a term to be like, well, if you've served less than 2 years as president, you could be vice president. But if you serve more than 2 years, you cannot. I just put it up in the chat. Read it.
Yeah, that was weird. We kind of went out a little bit, but I could hear you though. I don't know why it does that. Anyway, let's see. Ricardo, and if I didn't already, it says
Real quick, I just don't understand, you guys, why people throw these scare tactics out. Please, and I'm not trying to disrespect anybody. Google this stuff. The Constitution is something, your basic, you should know this stuff. And I know our school system is crap, but the fact of the matter is, I just Googled it and put it in the chat, and it is not in legalese. It is in simple, plain English for you to understand. A president that has ran 2 terms, a person could only serve 2 terms as president in the United States, period. Now, hypothetically, in a long-winded thing like Dimitri and I just said, can that be changed? Yes, because before there was no rule because FDR ran 4 terms. And this is what the Republicans were like, this isn't fair, because the guy basically will become a king if he keeps running and running and running and running and running, which is what we have for our congressmen, right? If the president has term limits, why don't our congress people have term limits? But we don't have that. But it specifically says what the president's position is. And he or she can only run 2 terms. That's it. End of the discussion.
Per the Constitution as it is. Selma, how you doing? Says it shows our intelligence when we say vote for a lesser of 2 evils and how they value your vote. Yeah, but that's what people do. That's still a thing. Vote for the lesser of 2 evils, right? And it's like, oh, you're still voting for evil. Let's see. Tamika says the presidency can be passed on to Trump after JD is elected. I don't think so. Neighborhood Watch, how you doing? Says these people will do backflips for $1,200 Trump checks. They might. Hey, Miss Jackson, how you doing? Said, hey, Dimitri and Donovan, just saw you guys are live. Going to catch it from the beginning. You guys keep it coming. Well, thank you. And thank you so much for the great interview. I've been reading the comments and people really love that interview. So we absolutely have to have you come back. Edward, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Why are you mad? How you doing? Says Camilla. Damn, game over. CJ says it will be Gavin 2028. He already hinting the NBA podcast and talking in slang. Laugh out loud. And people will show up to vote for Gavin. I believe that they will. Lauren says 260 million adults live in the United States, but only 77 million voted for Trump, just 30%. I'm convinced the other 183 million American adults, 70% are part of a demon cult. They might be. I don't know. Heisman, how you doing? It says, please, I hope not. The circumstances are prime for a third party. You would think. However, we know what they do with that third party. It's got to be, you could only choose one of 2, right? The Democrats or the Republicans.
Here's something to think about. Bernie Sanders, he's not even a Democrat. And guess who he gets along with? The Democrats. So Bernie Sanders is a socialist, independent type person, right? He runs as an independent, right? And what does he have to do? He has to go along to get along. They robbed him of the nomination twice, and he still supports the Democratic Party. So that tells you how this system is rigged in a certain way. Good cop, bad cop. And we've said this over and over and over again. And until people realize the corporations own both sides of the argument, there is no argument.
Jason, how you doing? Says, okay, well, who else you gonna to vote for? I think you're saying, let me guess, most of y'all going to vote MAGA since you have a huge issue with Kamala. See, that's the other thing too, is that, and just with that, there's that this or that when it doesn't have to be this or that. Not voting is a vote. You don't have to vote. Like I always say, if you go into a store, I think you should vote for sure, state and local. And I'm not telling you to vote. I'm just saying. But if you go into the store with your money, let's say you want to go buy a pair of shoes, a brown pair of shoes. You go in there and they say, we don't have no brown shoes. We got some black ones, though. You going to leave your money and take off out of there with what you didn't go in there for? Or would you just leave your money there and get no shoes? Nah. You say, well, I came in here for this, and when y'all get what I had in mind, I'll come back. I'm going to take my money, or I'm going to take my vote, and I'm going to go sit down somewhere until something that's a little bit more feasible for me comes into the picture. See, we got to unlearn that as voters, that, oh, you have to do one or the other. Well, if you didn't vote for this, you must have voted for that. First of all, your vote is your business. Okay, you ain't got to tell nobody who you voted for. That's your business. But you do not have to be guilted into, well, you didn't vote for her. You must have voted for him. Maybe I didn't vote for nobody. And depending on where you live, you could write somebody in. Okay, I know for a fact in California, Hello Kitty was put on the ballot a few times. So you could write yourself in if you wanted to. So if you're saying that I got to participate in this process, okay, let me go write myself in. So we got to unlearn that either or.
And by the way, you guys, Demetra did a great video on the African Diaspora News Channel. Some of you guys have probably saw it in the algorithm, where there was a lady that kind of broke that down as well. So, and by the way, Demetra, that was a great video that kind of explained, and it's really funny because, like I said, I'm unapologetic about telling people I voted for Trump, and I tell them why. And for what I got for my vote is exactly what I wanted. I want these illegals out of here. Right. So, I'm getting something for my vote. But the point is, a lot of people really are like, they really don't want to vote for Democrats. A lot of Black people really. But again, our mindset is, well, I'll vote for Kamala, even though she's letting all the illegals in and giving them all the money or whatever, the Democrats, because I just don't want Trump to win. And that's our mindset, rather than saying, you know what, I'll sit it out. I'll go do something else, whatever. But I do not hide the fact, and I'm not afraid to tell anybody, in the words of Demetra, and did.
Hobby, how you doing? It says Democrats in the Senate need to vote to reopen the government. Yeah, and they're saying the Republicans need to vote to reopen it as well. It's called this thing called compromise, but they're neither one of them are compromising. But you know what they're doing? They cashing their check. They getting the check. They're not getting the check, right? They getting their money. They're not gonna miss no meals or any of that other stuff. So they need to come. They both need to come to the table. But right now they got this. It's do or die. I'm not doing anything. And the American people. That's what they say they was going there to work for, right? The American people are suffering.
Yeah. And how many of you guys realize a lot of these states' budgets that are cutting back on the Section 8 and the welfare and all the other whatever programs those states have, especially in the sanctuary cities, a lot of that is because they've used a lot of money that should have gone to the citizens to house and support the illegal migrants that shouldn't have been there in the first place. Now, I'm not saying that's in all situations, but I can speak here in California. The budget in California, in Los Angeles, Karen Bass, is over $1 billion. Chicago is over $1 billion. And we interviewed an activist there that basically said the same thing that's happening here in California. And because the budget is busted, some of the very people who support illegal immigration and all of this kumbaya stuff have lost their jobs, or they've been furloughed to balance the budget to get it to where it needs to go. So their support of illegal invasion has cost them their jobs. Some of them their Section 8, some of them their food stamps, because they support this type of stuff. Now, we're a benevolent country, but go to their countries and demand resources and see what happened to you. I challenge you guys, pick any country in the world outside of the United States, go there illegally, demand resources, housing, and everything else, and see what happens to you.
Hello, Karen. How you doing? And Arson, you asked. Let me go back to your question. You say lots can be said about Trump or a possible Kamala run, but in the end, what scenario will it take for Blacks to get their reparations, or some bill giving them an edge, financial or otherwise? It's going to take for us to organize, unify, group economics, and all that other stuff. Which is why it's a lot. It's a lot of value for them to keep us ununified, right? Because we can ask and we can demand, but a demand with no backing is just that, right? It's just noise. So that's what it's going to take for us to get on the same page and say, all right, we all we got. Let's keep our money at home and all that. Till we do that, they're going to keep playing games with us, unfortunately. So let's see, who else haven't I seen on here? And Karen, he says no one will vote for Kamala. No good. Y'all got so many names for this lady. It's crazy. Vanessa, thank you so much for the super sticker. Love it. Appreciate you for that. And Kimberly says, on the other hand, we should have universal health care. We should, right? But, you know, of course, you hear them say, oh, it's going to cost too much money, this, that, and the other. It's like, compared to what? The money you give away to other countries and things like that. I mean, compared to what? You know? But that's really the wealthy, if you will, or these lawmakers deciding what the American people should have, right? And it's like, again, they're going there to serve, not to be served. And, you know, if it's, you know, like they call the president, whether it's Biden or Trump, a dictator. In a sense, they're all dictators. You're a congressperson, your senator, because you told them, hey, I'm going to put you in office if you're going to do A, B, C, and D. And they said, okay, yeah, I'm going to do it. And they ain't did none of the above, right? Why does that? There's this kink in the chain there in Congress right now. You know, I'm sure even a lot of Republicans didn't vote for what's going on, because it's not just Democrats that won't get their food stamps or their premiums are going through the roof. Because I've seen people say, saw a couple said their premium for their health care is $440, but next month is going up to $2,700, right? So I know a lot of those people are Republicans as well. And so a lot of those people didn't vote necessarily for their congressperson or their senator to go there and say, yeah, Trump, whatever you want to do. Or the Democrats to say, well, we ain't budging either. They sent them there to get something done. And right now they spent nearly a month getting nothing done, but they building a ballroom. Now I know that's coming from, you know, they say donations, $350 million from what I understand is what they raise is going to cost $300 million. Where are the other $50 million going?
Well, you know, here's a question we got to ask ourselves. Here we are debating universal health care, which is crap. And by the way, you guys, universal health care and the ACA, that was a Heritage Foundation idea. How many of you guys know that? That was a Republican idea, right? Even though we wanted single payer. The most Americans, when this was being debated under Obama, people wanted single payer, which would have been better than what we have, because people knew that when you deal with the ACA and the insurance companies, the rates will eventually go up somewhere, somehow, and thus they have. But here's the kicker of this whole thing. The very thing that keep us fighting and is a debate issue and is a wedge issue in politics, especially during the election cycles, there is not one Congress member that is on universal or that is on the ACA or pays out of their pocket. They have their own different healthcare that we don't even get. How many of you guys know that?
Yeah. Yeah, and Vanessa says the fact that we believe a certain way doesn't mean it will stay that way with Cheetos. Well, damn. All right, so let's see. Extreme says, don't forget Project 2025 is going to make us slaves again. That will really scare Black folks. Yeah, as I said, if you think you're going to be a slave, then report right now to the nearest plantation. Just get it over with, right? Now, has there been some talks about it? Yeah, sure. There's been some people that sits with Trump and all that talking about, you know, making people slaves again. That's been some conversations, but it's like, man, a lot of y'all ain't gonna make it if you try. You try, you know, wrestling us back on them plantations, you ain't gonna make it. It's gonna be some casualties, I'm quite sure, you know, because I can't think of one person that's gonna say, well, if I got to go. Only us.
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of church members I see that I think would fit that mold.
Well, hell, they can go pick the cotton. It ain't gonna be me. Hope you got some, you know, good backs and knees. Kimberly says, but the Constitution isn't being followed now. So what are we to think? I believe people know what the Constitution says, but if the Supreme Court letting Trump slide, shaking my head, and that's what a lot of people don't understand. The Supreme Court, their job is to interpret the Constitution. Now, if they're interpreting it the way it's written, yeah, they should be able to say, "Not Trump. I don't know why you're wasting our time." Okay, but you know, again, that they'd have to rewrite it, and because Congress can do that. I don't know. It remains to be seen. I don't know what Steve Bannon is talking about at all. I don't know.
But here's the thing, you guys. Again, if we're talking about the Constitution, we got to stop spreading this yin yang, what we see in the movies type Avenger BS. It also says in the Constitution, when the Constitution is not working for you, it tells you specifically what you need to do. One of the things, I'm not going to say the other thing. One of the things it says to do is go farther west. This is when the Constitution was written, we didn't really occupy the continental United States as we do today. So it says that if the Constitution is not working for you, there's two things you could do. And one of them is pack your bags and go west to where you could be free and do what it is you need to do. The other thing is referenced in Article 2 of the Constitution. And that's my point with you guys. You guys keep bringing up that they're not following the Constitution, they're not doing this. What are you going to do about it? Because I know what I'm going to do about it, but what are you going to do about it?
Well, and I've said this because I keep seeing people say that too. Why do I got to do something about it? Why do I, if you're not, let me finish. If you're not doing what you are going to the office to do, you as a politician, you know you're supposed to be following the Constitution. Why I got to do something? What I did was, as a citizen, I voted for you to go to office. Now, I didn't vote for you to advocate your responsibilities, right? So why do I, right? I'm just asking, because to me, it's like, okay, well, they breaking the rules or they may not go by the Constitution. So what are you going to do about it? No, why I got to do something about it? Why is it my job to potentially lose my freedom, with some people might, civil war type stuff, they might, but why is that my job to go and I don't know how you would do it physically or whatever, hold them accountable? Why is that my job?
Well, I'll tell you why it's your job, because you don't like what's being done. You're the boss. It's we, the people of the United States. You're the boss. There's a third way to do it. The third way to do it is what? Vote them out of office. You don't keep the very people that aren't going to uphold the Constitution in the position of power. You vote them out.
Right, obviously, right? But again, you vote people in there. Why I gotta wait 2 years to vote you out? Or why I gotta be romping? I say I'm not a protesting type of girl. Okay?
Recall, right?
Why I got to be romping and stomping all over the place and get you to do with your job, right? Your job is to go in there and do for the American people. But now you got people marching in the streets and all kind of stuff because everybody there in Washington is kind of shoulder shrug, like, wow, we'll just keep the government shut down because I'm not gonna miss a meal, I'm not gonna miss a check. So now people got to potentially lose their freedom, lose their mind to get the people to do what they was elected to do in the first place. So, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's funny.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it's funny. Somebody said about the military, how the reason why the generals are staying in check is to protect the guardrails. Sitting in a position doing absolutely nothing, that isn't helping the situation. And I had to push back on this. How many of you guys have seen the movie Crimson Tide? And I'm referring to the military reaction to the Constitution if it's being violated or whatever. A lot of us saw the movie Crimson Tide, right? Denzel Washington basically played me. Okay, so hey, I don't need the eyes, Demetra. Denzel Washington basically played me, and he did a damn good job. The look and everything was great. But the point is, generals sitting in positions knowing that the Constitution is being violated, just sitting there doing nothing, is nothing. You were supposed to either, like that admiral did, step down, because you could be reinstituted by the next president or whatever. You're going to be exonerated. And in the movie Crimson Tide, even though Denzel Washington was right and the commander, Dean Hackman, was right, they both were right. But who got vindicated? Denzel Washington did, because he stuck to his convictions. And so that's the point. What you got to do is what you got to do. It's your freedom that's on the line. That's why I keep asking the question. You can sit here and holler all damn day. The fact of the matter is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to continue to vote for nothing and let the people sit there and continue not to protect the Constitution? Or are you going to pack your bags like a lot of these Hollywood celebrities and go somewhere else and live and do all that? Or there's the third option, whatever the deal is. At the end of the day, the question is, what are you going to do about it? Sitting there, hollering and screaming and complaining, that ain't getting a damn thing done.
Like I said again, I need this. If I'm a voter, I already did something about it. I'm not going to be, I shouldn't have to be putting my life in danger behind making you go to work and do your damn job, right? You know what I mean? I'm just saying, like, what else am I supposed to do? Yeah, I can't vote you out. But even with that, there's, I guess, no guarantee that the person, because clearly everybody in Washington got their head in the sand. There's no guarantee that you're going to vote for anybody that's going to go do the job. So I don't understand why I got to keep trying to put my life in jeopardy to make you do your job. You know what I mean? Go do your job, man, lady. Go do your job. That's what you was elected, hired to do. Is go do your job. Bring on the bacon for the American people. Vote, rule in the middle where the common sense is. All this, back and forth. Extremism on this side. Extremism. Listen, it's exhausting, right? Now I will say this. There has been other countries, especially within the last couple of weeks or so, that was like, okay, that's enough. Okay, right? We've seen, them rise up and a dictator, because that's what they are. Some will say that's what we got. Well, we got dictatorships here. They say, oh, well, we sorry. What is it that we can, okay, we gonna change our mind. And like, we need you to change about the job. Okay, we don't want you here no more. So that could happen. But again, most people ain't trying to have it cost them something, but some people are to the point that they don't care. Ricardo says, Demetra, we don't want promises that can be broken. We need action before our votes are cast. I totally agree with you. So Dr. Claude Anderson said we need to hold people contractually to what they say. So I agree. Because people could say they going to do A, B. Hell, all of them said they was going to do something they ain't do. You know what I mean? Besides, some people could argue that Trump has. He said what he was going to do, and he in there doing it, whether people like it or not. So yeah. VW, how you doing? He says everything Trump said he would do. I should rate your comments. I came true. Can't defy her. Can't deny her that. You ain't complaining about all the ish Trump is doing. I'm not sure how to read your comment, but okay. El Booty says, stop begging for reparations. We built successful communities in the early and mid 1900s without reparations and during segregation. It's not a handout game. It's a hand in your own pocket game. I ain't for to talk about that comment because I'm tired. But if you see it as a handout, there's no way I'm gonna convince you that it's not, because giving away or having labor stolen from our people was not a handout. We didn't hand that out, right? Getting ran up in our slave shacks by the massa, nobody was handing that out, right? So to say that our reparations is a handout, like I said, if that's what you believe, I'm not gonna change your mind, nor will I try. I just know when it's handed out, just hand us your check, homie. Don't even bust open the envelope. Matter of fact, if you get a direct deposit, just send it back. Say, I decline that money. It's a handout. I don't want it. Okay, and we'll take it from there. Let's see, who else haven't I seen? Because I see we are over time. ECU says grassroots FBAs need to run for these political offices across the nation heavily. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It does need to be Black Americans in those seats. Especially, so we can have a voice, because we really ain't have one like that, right? Al, how you doing? Says
real quick. Emergency, real quick. 7 minutes left. Dallas Cowboys 17, Broncos 44. I see a super comeback coming right now. 7 minutes. I see it coming. Don't worry, America's team will let us down again. So I just want you guys to know that information. So
I can sleep at night now. Al says, Donovan, what's your opinion on the NBA gambling scandal?
What scandal? They've been doing that. Remember that referee that got caught fixing games and he went to jail for like a year or two? That's been going on for what scandal? It's been going on. They do it in football. Have you guys noticed though, when it comes to sports and even on your cell phones, you're seeing more and more gambling apps. So now they're giving us weed, alcohol, and now gambling has been normalized to take more money out of people's pockets. And then, Demetra, did you hear Las Vegas lost 1.4 trillion travelers this summer? That actually happened as it's declining.
Yeah.
Because people don't have any money. People just, it's done. We're done now. We're done.
Yeah, Kelly, I have seen that video. I said, I'm keeping up on it. I need to go back to the guy's page and see the latest developments, but I am keeping up on that. It was very eerie. So yes, I have. In my opinion, in regards to the gambling scandal, if you will, I see a lot of people saying, oh, well, they're saying that it was the mafia, but they only showing Black men. And I just say this, listen, you can't do what them people do and get away with it. You can't, right? Gambling is, if indeed they're guilty of that. I don't know. Not Gilbert Arenas. He's in some trouble too. But Chauncey Billups said, I ain't do it, right? He said he ain't guilty, whatever the case is. But if it's true, it's like I always say, and I've been taught, there's never enough of more, right? And to some people, there's never enough of more. I'm sure Chauncey Billups sounds like he was coaching, another guy was actively playing. So I'm sure you're getting a lot of coins. So at what point do you say, I got enough money, right? If they're guilty of that, I'm not saying that they are. At what point do you say, I got enough money? Let me take my wife and my kids or whatever it is you're doing, take this little bit check I got. When I say little bitty, I mean big, and go live a nice life. Yeah, I could do these things, and I'll probably get away with it for some time, because I watched the press conference and FBI said, yeah, we've been watching it for 3 years or so, right? So they said we got some weight on it. They got some evidence. But my thing is, again, you're going to have to say no, right? Integrity, the definition of that is what? Do the right thing even when no one is looking. Because most people think, oh, I ain't going to get caught. Who going to know? Anybody going to know? Well, I learned this, and I tell you all the time. I heard this twice. When I started working, I had a cosmetology license. If you guys didn't know, I used to be a cosmetologist for 2 seconds, okay? One of the instructors, he says, I tell the clients, do not tell me anything you don't want repeated, because I can't guarantee you that I'm not going to repeat it, right? My boss, when I first started working at Frito-Lay, he says, everybody got a friend that ain't going to tell nobody. And usually that friend's name is nobody. Because everybody, oh, I got something to tell you. Oh, but can't tell nobody. Girl, who I'm going to tell? I don't know nobody. And then they go tell somebody. So I say all that to say, while they were thinking they weren't going to get caught, if indeed they're guilty, somebody they knew was probably like, oh, man, you know, I'm involved with, I know somebody who woo, this, that, and the other. Now you're going to be, trying not to drop the soap.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, you keep bringing that up. Michael Vick, one of the best football players that ever played the game, how did he get caught up? It was his cousin or family members that was running the dog thing at his property, and he's the one that ended up going to prison. So I agree with what you're saying there. Another example, one of the greatest baseball players in our era, Demetria, known as Mr. Charlie Hustle, for those of you guys that don't know who I'm talking about, Pete Rose. He was caught up in the scandal. He was the manager. They banned him for life. This man should be in the Hall of Fame, and because of gambling. So this is nothing new. It's been going on way before us, and it's going to continue straight ahead, just like the Mac says. It's going to continue straight ahead.
And like you said, everybody saw what Pete Rose went through. Was not going to be in the hall. I wasn't in there already. And they took him out. Just a lot. Like, okay, so he wasn't going. They wanted to put.
He was eligible to go, and they wouldn't let him in because of his gambling.
Right, and
I guess that was the deal he made to get out of the jail or whatever, something like that.
So it cost him a lot, and he's considered to be one of the greatest in the baseball conversation. So you mean to tell me, if indeed you are guilty, you saw that happen, and you took your black behind and got involved with some, gambling and throwing games? It said Rosier, whatever his name is, he was throwing games. He was like, okay, I'm telling people I'm going to leave the game early. So I guess in gambling, you can bet over or under on players or whatever. So he would leave the game early. And so people who bet that he would somehow not perform well, whatever it was, they want money. So he was actively, that's the allegation anyway. So you've seen that playbook before, and you saw that he got caught. And there you allegedly are doing. I don't feel sorry for people like that. I'm sorry. Dear self, how you doing? Arson says, Demetria gave Donovan that specific look that only she and Auntie Nina Simone could give, and Donovan is endorsing the performance of Denzel Washington playing him in the movie. I love you. I love you too. Yeah, I mean, you got to think big sometimes, right? Who am I to kill his dreams? Dear self said that is someone who isn't a Black American talking about handout because they can't benefit. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to be trying to convince people as to why we need our shmoney. We just do, right? So yeah, Vicky, how you doing? Says none of that pagan Thanksgiving for me. I don't celebrate holidays, but if you want to get together with your family, by all means you should. Jamal, how you doing? Says he is doing what he wants for him and his kind, but he has not done anything for the American masses. Washington is in turmoil, prices high, no budget pass. Some people fixing to suffer. Oh, they suffering already, believe it or not, right? So yeah, MC Fact, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Renee, what's going on? He says the gambling stuff been going on, nothing to do. Yeah, but when the FBI get involved, that's a you know, and you know, you betting against your team and stuff. Come on, man. That's not new. So why are you doing it? You know, if you ever talk to prisoners, and listen, I don't make it a habit, although I have, but not like that, right? But everybody knows that, like, you know how you gonna come up in here. They all thought, man, it wasn't gonna be me. I was gonna beat the system. Man, I had it perfect. But then sometimes they get in there and they say, okay, bet when we get out again, this is how we gonna do it so we don't get caught. And it's like, welcome back. We have your bunk for you. We didn't change it because we knew you'd be back. So it's like.
But Demetra, they would have got away with it if it hadn't been for you and those stupid kids and that dog.
I mean, I'm just saying, at what point did, like, whose fault is it? Then, like I said, I see all these brothers and I guess sisters too. Oh, you know what? They got a black man's face on the front of this and this, that, and the other. Where the mafia? Listen, Kay, you know anything about the mafia, and I do, okay? I told y'all a story about that too. When I first started doing hair, it was a guy who was allegedly in the Mexican mafia who owned this shop, and I was there only a week after that, and I was gone, okay? For good reasons. But yeah, the mafia, you know, they got the fall guys and things like that. They get caught up every now and again or whatever. And they was involved with some of the famous crime families, including the Gambino family, right? Just because the head, if you will, is probably dead and gone. They passed that. That's generational wealth to them, right? So again, I mean, y'all knew what you was getting involved in. But y'all talking about these black men are paying the price for it. When these black men gonna say no, thank you. No, thank you. No means no.
Right. And if you look at Trump's mannerism, who does he try to remember? He's a New York developer. You don't think Donald Trump don't know these gangsters and mingles among them? Look at how he moves. He even dresses like a gangster, that long gangster coat. And I hate to be stereotypical, but if you really look at him, he wants to be a mafia don. That's his whole, to me, shtick. You know, he's a corrupt businessman. That's one thing we do know about Donald Trump as it came out in the public record.
Oh, yeah, he definitely moves like the mob, for sure, okay? Hey, Buckers, how you doing? And Bill, thank you so much. Love and appreciate you for that. It says the suffering never stopped. Yeah, it never has, right? Now, is it going to get worse? For some people, absolutely. It's you know, I don't know. It's heartbreaking, honestly, because this suffering is not just going to be contained to one group of people. The grocery stores will suffer because who's going to go buy? Right now, there's a lot of people who aren't on food stamps, admittedly, but yeah, everybody will pay the price for this. Oh,
and I'm glad you brought that up as we wind down and we come back to the Kamala thing. I want you guys to think about this. With the government being shut down, right? Do you guys realize a grocery store, they don't make millions of dollars. A grocery store's profit, Demetra, if I'm correct, is about 2 or 3% of their basic bottom line. They're only like 2 or 3% above the line. They ain't making like a big margin of profit. Because remember, you got food that's perishable and things like that they have to throw away, whatever the deal is. Do you guys realize, and it never really hit me until I was reading up on this Wednesday, that these grocery stores are dependent on EBT buyers coming in there buying the billions of dollars of food at the beginning of the month. That is part of they're selling things to keep them above water. So if these people are not going to get paid during the month of Thanksgiving, do you know how many stores are going to go under based on that? And my question is this: I know.
Wait, before you ask your question, break it down just a little bit further. So the grocery stores don't get paid. So the people who supplying the grocery store, it's
right, exactly. And you know, and I know Kamala's on her book tour thing, but you would think rather than making excuses why she didn't win, at this point, she's getting better at interviews. I'll give her that. You know, and that she should have done that right out of the box, but she didn't. She isn't coming up with any solutions. You know, a politician would look back and sit back and say, you know what, this is what we got to do. All I'm hearing from Kamala is, I told you so. I told you so about Trump. I told you so. Forget all that. He's in the seat. What are you going to do different, Kamala? But the point is, I want you guys to pay attention as we go into the new month. like Demetrius has said, and a lot of people have said, these grocery stores are very dependent on the EBT government customer thing. And Demetrius, my last thing I'm going to say, I actually think this is a test bed. If people could go 1 month without their EBT and without rioting, why not the next month? Why not the next month after that? Do you see where I'm going with all of that?
Yeah, it's the frog in a boiling pot of water scenario. JD, how you doing? Says, what do you suggest Black people do when none of the political parties serve the best interest of Black people? Black people need to serve the better interest of ourselves. With nearly $2 trillion spending power, we can't solve issues of our own, right? We need to be about the interest of ourselves finally. Stop being about the interests of everybody else, because clearly it has not worked out well for us, right? So while politics is important, but and they do neglect us, we got to stop neglecting ourselves. If we start there, I think we'll see a big difference. El Buddha, you say Chinese and East Indians don't care about voting, they only care about their income. I'm Black American, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad never begged for reparations and said, put yourself in heaven at once. Yeah, because as he said, and it's been said in the nation, obviously, that the white man's heaven is here, right? But we supposed to wait till we die to get to heaven? And well, ain't nobody went and came back and said, yeah, it's worth dying for. Yeah, for sure. So why would you live a miserable life here on earth and then hope and pray that if you go up, if that's where you're going, that is going to be like, give me my, all the bells and the whistles here. Al, you say JD Vance versus Kamala, who wins and why? That's a tough one. I don't know. That would be a tough one. I don't see a lot of people caring for JD Vance like that. Obviously, they don't care for Kamala like that, but I think that word would come in where the lesser of two evils. You'd have to really weigh what that is, right? Arthur, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. And we about to get out of here. Valerie, how you doing? Says Kamala can't win the FBA vote. Nah, that's a done deal for her. Let's see. Who else? Vanessa says, so glad I have family who looks after their elderly. Yeah, we got to look after the elderly. We have to, because they'll be affected by this as well. Marcus, how
well, if they would stop taking their checks to the damn casino, they could fare a lot better. I'm just saying.
I mean, the Social Security gonna be all right, but a lot of them who depend on the food stamps or whatever the case is. Look out for those people. It's not their fault per se. But yeah, like you said, Donovan, in regards to Vegas, people ain't got the money. They just don't have the money. And to see people think, and this is kind of why I always say, there, but for the grace of God, there go I. We should all embody that, because that basically means thank God it's not me, but doesn't mean it couldn't be me, right? Because when we think about people not getting their food stamps and things like that, it's not saying all, but there's some people who are gloating, which I have seen some people online gloating. Why are we giving $44 million of people food stamps anyway? And all this other stuff. But as we have just talked about here briefly, this is a trickle up, trickle down, trickle sideways effect, because like you said, grocery stores, they depend a lot on food stamps, and then the suppliers, they won't, they'll be affected because, hey, we ain't really moving nothing, so we don't need to re-up. Our inventory is still kind of where it was the last time, and then whoever they getting, they good. And so it's, and then with that, people lose their jobs because where the grocery stores or the suppliers. So it's a lot going on for people really to just kind of look at it and say, well, the Democrats won't acquiesce or the Republicans won't acquiesce. At the end of the day, neither one of them are coming to the table. But this economy, you're going to see it's not going to be good, and everybody's going to end up getting affected by it.
Yeah, and you know what? And this is my opinion, everybody that is involved with this shutdown should be voted out of office. They should be voted out of office, because there is no excuse that they cannot come up with a budget. The government should not be shut down, period. We should not be. Dimitri, when we were younger and stuff, you never heard of government shutdowns. There was no such thing. Every one of these people should be voted out of office.
Because, Donovan, what it says is, if I can't get my way, then everybody's going to suffer. Whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, it says everybody's going to get it. If I don't get my way, you know, I'll just, we'll go on a month-long vacation. You know, they said like with Trump, he went to Malaysia, I think it was, or wherever he's at. They said it's rare. Even the first time when he was running, they had a shutdown. He canceled a foreign trip. Say most presidents canceled a foreign trip, but he was like, I'll be back. You know. So yeah, and Ward and how you do says, how about corporate welfare to Walmart and Amazon? Well, you know, I'm always going to say these things. That's on the consumer. If we're not willing to stay out of Walmart and stay out of or order from Amazon and all that, you know, whose fault is that? So we give them money by buying from them, and they get tax dollars because we know that Walmart, it was anyway, might still be one of the biggest beneficiaries of socialism in regards to welfare, food stamps and stuff, because most of their workers are on some sort of government subsidy. And the heirs of Walmart, they are more wealthier than the 99, all of the 99%. All of them put together are wealthier than the 99%. So I was like, we're mad at the government, but we're not mad at the consumer for going in there. So that's where it's like to yourself.
I'm talking to the man in the mirror. That's Michael Jackson said it. You know what I mean? That's the thing. And before we get out of here, I want to say this. We know that the next couple of months is going to be very, very painful. I believe another mass layoff just happened. Like I forgot what company it was, but a lot of people are losing their jobs.
Amazon is talking about laying off a whole bunch more people too. Yeah,
a whole bunch of people, and they're bringing in the AI robots. Demetra, how long ago were we talking about the AI robots? And remember 2 years ago when I came to the show one day and I said, we got to address the homeless Black females with families. And look what happened. It took about 2 years, but it actually happened. Winter is here. But here's what I want to say, and I'm not here to gloat about how voyeuristic I am or whatever, you know, seeing the future or whatever. But my organization, my Officers Association, what we're doing is we are volunteering our time to help homeless vets get vouchers to go to hotels, gym memberships so they can shower and do whatever they need to do. And we're also expanding that to help single mother families that need it, because here in California, these people need the resources, the money. You aren't going to, the average hotel in California, even a motel, is over $100. A little cheap, nasty motel is over $100. And we've got a lot of Black women with children out on the street. So what my organization is doing, they're asking each member to volunteer some time to help raise money. My personal goal is $7,000, and I expect to make that money within the next 3 months, within the holiday period, to go to the organization to help. And I'm just saying, if you guys have the time, or if you guys can do something outside of judgment, you know, we don't, you know, we're past judgment time. You know, we're past warning. We are here now, and our people are suffering. Our women are suffering. These children should not have to suffer. I'm not saying go out there and buy toys to, you know, that are PlayStations and stuff like that. That ain't what I'm saying. But there's still no excuse for a child not to have a Christmas that has at least one present or something like that. You know what I mean? Something for the, if you're into that symbolism stuff. If you guys can donate a couple of dollars here and there, it all adds up. And so what we're trying to do is say this: we can't rely on this government no more. They're done. They're finished. We have to rely on ourselves as Black people. And that's the bottom line. So regardless of if my issues with, you know, the women wanting to be single, strong, and independent, that we're past that now. It gets cold here in the desert in Southern California. We got veterans on the street, and we have a lot of single mothers living in cars, and we want to do something the best we can to do that. And I would strongly ask you guys also this: if you have a teenager at home and they're rounding up all of these illegals, have you guys noticed they aren't great jobs, but they're jobs? Go get those jobs. Go get those jobs while you have a chance to get those jobs, because every penny mounts up. Ladies, I know that's your little king. He's 6'4", 340 pounds with twists in his hair. He looks all cute to you. Have that 16, 17-year-old go get that job, because guess what? That $1,000 car payment, you ain't gonna make it. The rent that's due, you're behind. They're ready to evict. We've got to depend on ourselves. And I'm gonna leave it right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I co-sign everything Donovan is saying. And African Native, thank you so much for that donation. Love it. Appreciate you for that. It does help. Everything what Donovan said, I will also say, you also got to be able to take advice, because advice actually is more valuable than somebody giving you a loaf of bread. I mean, if the loaf of bread is temporary, but the advice is forever. And I say all that to say, because I'm one, I like to help more in private type of person. But I tell y'all, I used to sell life insurance. And when I see like the GoFundMe's and stuff, I get offended by that, because I would talk to people, say, nah, that's a bill. Oh, I'm not going to do that. And then, God forbid, somebody die. It's like, oh, we having a GoFundMe. It's like, who is we? Right? Because I know doggone well somebody tried to talk to you, put some good sense into you, and you rebuffed it. Nah, I'm good. I can't stand the I'm good people when clearly you're not, right? So if somebody is giving you advice and they're trying to help you, hey, this is what I think you should do, A, B, C, and D, look into it. If it's something you can use, do that. But don't be that person that's like, well, I need you to help me. And it's like, you need me to help you. As my dad always says, if you can't take my advice, you can't take my money either. So we got to unlearn, I'm good. Now I'm good. Are you really? Are you good? And you going to come around and ask me to help you with something when I tried to tell you this is maybe how you doing it? Because this is what I do, right? I used to be in financial services. And for me, the easiest way to learn how to do your finances, and Donovan's heard me say this a bunch of times, don't spend more than you make. It's that simple. If you're not making that kind of money, don't be out in the clubs. Don't be spending money you don't have to spend, right? You got to take care of you, right? But then you want for somebody, not you, I'm talking to them over there, but people who have been responsible with their money. And that don't mean they have a lot of money. They're just responsible with their money. Now you want them to cake you off a couple of dollars because you did everything you wanted to do with yours. Now I get it. Sometimes people have a hard time. I ain't talking about those people. I'm talking about the people who can't take advice. You won't listen to nobody. Well, just give me. I just need. Come on, if you just give me this, nah. Because then who gonna give it to me? Where am I gonna get it from, right? Because I don't have too many people that I can just call up and say, hey, can I get a C note from you? I just don't, right? I do, but I wouldn't want to do that. I would do all I can, but I'm saying, because not everybody, but what's about to happen is there's a lot of people who are included in that did not and could not and would not take advice. The I'm good crowd. And were you really good at the end of the day? If I'm saying, hey, like, Donovan's a frugal person. He's not cheap. He's frugal. I consider myself to be a frugal person. There's just a lot of stuff I don't go spend money on. I'd be broke. I'll be honest with you, but I don't. Because they are, as the old people say, save for what? A rainy day. You never know what's going to happen. They say what? Cash is king. Keep you some cash. We have you some liquid some way, somehow, if you needed to do that. And here we are. We're only at the precipice. We ain't seen nothing yet. You're going to be hearing about people getting their doors kicked in more than ever now. And I'm not trying to prophesize that as something to be negative, but that's what we're going to see. Because a lot of people just really couldn't take advice. And here we are. Now they all ears.
It's funny. I know we got to go, but Kevin Samuels called it the Great Reset. He said it's going to be a global reset. And once again, I know you ladies can't stand Kevin Samuels, but the fact of the matter is he was right. There is a global reset going on around the world.
See, wasn't trying to go there. Listen, R.I.P. to Kevin Samuels, wherever you may be in the universe, okay? R.I.P. to you. People keep trying to put this black woman on Front Street, but there's a lot. Matter of fact, the most homeless person out there is the black man, right? So thank you for giving black women all this advice. And listen, I know there's a lot of hard-headed heifers out there, and I'm not going to say there's not, but I want y'all to be a little bit more even-handedness with all this advice, right? Because there's a lot of brothers out there that's homeless and that need something. In fact, I give more money to brothers than I do sisters on these streets. So why y'all?
Uncle Sugar, that's why, because Uncle Sugar was supporting.
why we admonishing this black woman, because I'm gonna say this as a black woman, okay? The black woman with all the foolishness she got going on, and trust me, that the sister is silly. But what I'm not gonna do is kick that sister in her behind too hard, because the sister is, in a sense, the backbone of the black community, even at its lowest form, right? A sister may not have nothing, but she gonna try to help somebody else have something. That's including that brother, right? And I'm speaking from a sister point of view that's been with a brother 2 hours. I'm gonna help him get on up. Now I'm a different individual right now. I'm my big old 54 years of age, but I've been that sister. Oh, he trying to get something. He trying to do something. We gotta stop kicking these sisters when they down. But we also need to start giving some of that to the brothers, right? Because it ain't a whole lot of stuff. I know the internet and your uncles tell y'all that the sister, she are the black woman. She don't want no man. God damn it, that's a lie. Because every black woman I know want a man, but you know what the difference is? She want a man that's gonna act right. I don't know no sister who said he got to have $1 million. He got to. She's like, listen, if he could just do for himself, and we could put our stuff together, he gonna act right. He gonna keep his little dang-lang out the streets. I'm with it. Where he at? So let's have an honest conversation.
Okay, look, I like what you said. When Kevin Samuels said there's a global reset around the world, he wasn't talking about black women. He's talking about there's going to be a global reset. I don't know why you brought up the women type thing. The fact of the matter is, no, I brought up Kevin Samuels. That's what I brought up. I said he's going to be global reset. I didn't say anything about relationships. You guys only hear what you want to hear. The fact of the matter is, Kevin Samuels talked about a global reset around the world, and it's happening. It's not just in America. He said a global reset. And that's what's happening as we see the corporations bringing in the AI robots and all this other stuff. Yeah, no, I did bring up Kevin Samuels, but I didn't bring it up in the fact of relationships. I didn't bring it up in that fact. I said a global reset.
You brought up the sister. Yes, you did, homie. Yes,
no, I didn't. No, I didn't. I said a global reset. Did not bring up the sisters in the light that Kevin Samuels did. I said the global reset, nothing with relationships. You guys only hear what you want to hear. When Kevin Samuels said global reset, he was talking about the way the world is going to be around the globe. Nothing to do with relationships. It's what's going to do with the businesses and the AI and how they're laying off people and all this other stuff. That's what the thing is, you ladies get triggered because I said the word Kevin Samuels and you immediately started hearing something else.
What I will not let you do is gaslight.
Go ahead.
Me.
I'm not gaslighting.
You are gaslighting because I heard what you said. And listen, I'm not going to argue that because Memorex is forever, right? So y'all can go back, rewind it, whatever the case is, and that's not even besides the point. But don't gaslight me. Don't come by saying we triggered because you mentioned Kevin Samuels. I'm not triggered per se, but what I'm saying is to bring up Kevin Samuels and say to reset, and sisters need to get together. And I saw somebody else in there say something.
I never said nothing about sisters. Never said anything about sisters getting together. I've never said that.
Hey, Timothy, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. He said he know how you meant it, but I'm sure he heard you say it. Okay. Sure, girl, how you doing? You better stop sunlight. Anyway, listen, we could be here.
No, wait, and real quick, you can share. Girl said it. She says, we don't want to hear his name. You are right. That's what I said. I said, Kevin said, I know you ladies don't want to hear his name, but he talked about the global reset. That's all I said. I didn't say anything about relationships and women got to get together. I didn't say nothing about that. I said, I prefaced it saying, Kevin Samuels said a global reset is going to happen. And this is where we're at right now. She just said what I said. Exactly. She said exactly what I said. You guys don't want to hear his name, but he's the guy that said that.
I don't care about hearing his name or not. Don't make me know, never mind. I'm just saying we got to stop putting this on the back of the black woman like she the only one that got a wake-up call. These white women got a wake-up call because they get food stamps more than we do. Okay, the white man, the Mexican man, the Asian man, the black man, everybody got a wake-up call. It's not just a sister. You see, we got to unlearn that narrative, because for me, it's exhausting to have to defend black women. And listen, I'm a black woman. I've been there for 54 years. I got a resume to talk about the black woman. If anybody got a resume and a right to do it, it's me. So one thing I always tell y'all, I'm going to die on this hill. Ain't no man. Okay, there's only a few men. But not too many men gonna tell me about being a black woman, especially if he ain't a woman or he ain't a black woman. You can't tell me about black women. I know how black women get down. As I said, nobody hates a black woman more than a black woman. And yeah, I can say that because I got the resume to say that, but I'm not gonna keep listening to men. Now, I will listen to you, but you're not gonna tell me how women should think, how women should be, and all that, while you got the black man running around and he ain't getting no advice. Right? So as I say, brothers, y'all got something. And listen, the advice probably coming from a good place. I'm not saying it's not. But please stop telling us what to do if you ain't uttered a word to the black man, because that's who you're supposed to be talking to. The black man. And not getting on the internet, not saying you, Donovan, and talking to black women, because most of these men talking bad about black women ain't trying to be with no black woman. So why would we want to listen to you in the first place? That's all I'm saying. So we got to get our own house in order. Black men, talk to black men. Pull it, because Donovan,
the Great Reset.
Yeah.
The Great Reset.
Black men, black women got everybody and their mama talking to us. We got white people. We got black men. We got, listen, and one day she gonna listen. Okay? And most black women do listen. And that's what I always say. We want to spend time talking about the black women who ain't listening. There's a whole lot of black women that's listening, that's holding their household down. They go to work. They're doing great things in the community, but that sister would never get a conversation because it ain't sexy. It ain't sexy to talk about the sister who's got something going on. It makes money and it satiates people to talk about the black woman who's doing the stuff she ain't supposed to be doing, but she's not reflective of all black women. Just like when a white woman out there acting and losing her damn mind, they don't say all white women, but when a black woman does something, just like they say with black men, that got to be attributed to all black people. No, that's that black woman that's doing that. But most black women don't act wayward like y'all see all up on the internet. Y'all tell me the last time your favorite YouTuber, whoever it is, put up a positive black woman that was doing something. Tell me the last time y'all saw that. But if I ask y'all,
you want me to answer that? You want me to answer that?
Yeah.
This show, the Demetra K Show.
All right, I'll tell you.
Okay, there you go.
I'm just saying.
But real quick, what you described is what Kevin Towns talked about, the Great Reset. Black men and women getting together, blah, blah, blah. You're describing it, like I said, I think what it is because of the messenger. When you guys hear that, you guys don't hear the rest. But you're describing what he was talking about, the Great Reset.
And yeah, I don't know what it is about the Sunday show where we just go over, but Bernard, and I appreciate y'all compliments, but I have a lot of subscribers, but then I don't, right? In the larger scheme of things, and I like to keep it intimate. I really do. I like, because I can have a conversation with most y'all, whatever the case is, but I'm not everybody's cup of tea, and I'm all right with that, right? Because I want to be rare. But if I was doing certain things on here, man, it would be party over here. And, we have a great conversation. Don't get me wrong. But Bernard, you say black women degrading black men all day. Really, listen, if you know about me, I don't like that either, which is why I don't get involved in that conversation about black men. Because listen, my daddy a black man. My brothers are black men. I know mostly black men. And I know a lot of great black men. As much as Donovan get on my last nerve, sometimes Donovan is a great black man. Donovan don't talk about most of the things that he does, right? I know Donovan personally, and I know that the world is better off because of Donovan, who happens to be a black man. I know he be on here acting salty, but he do that for some of y'all about black women. But Donovan helps black women. He does. I'm a black woman that he has helped. I wasn't doing YouTube before he said, hey, what are you doing? Right? So I know most black men, that are doing great things. So I'm not one of those people that these running black men low. Now, listen, I've dated nothing but black men. I will say they done a number on your girl, right?
Wait a minute. Stop right there. You dated a El DeBarge clone, and we know the DeBarges ain't black.
And they black enough, okay? Doing crack. I'm just playing. I'm just that was a joke. Ha ha. I guess what I'm saying is I know great black men. Great black men have made me who I am. I didn't say they were perfect, but I said they were great. So I'm not one of these sisters that's going to get on here, drag black men, and oh, trust me, okay? My mouth would never shut up with some of the things that some brothers have done to me. But guess what? I haven't dated all brothers, so I don't have that critique for all black men. I love black men. There is nothing better than a black man. Yes, I'm going to say that. So I don't even hang around black women that dog black men. I don't have those conversations. I don't hang in those circles with them because that's low vibrational to be sitting up talking about the black man, because who going to be for the black woman if it ain't the black man? I know some black women have made black men mad. Yeah, I know that. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a black man that's going to come save the black woman. The white man ain't going to do it. The Asian, Hispanic, because he busy saving his own woman, and that's what he's supposed to be doing. So I don't talk to sisters like that. In fact, if I do have conversations with sisters like that, I try to rearrange their understanding, you know, because it's like, who hurt you? And I'm sure somebody hurt you, but you taking all that out on, you know, on all black men. See, that sister needs some knowledge of self. She needs to learn to love herself. And I say that as a sister who'd have to learn to love myself, right? Because now, in hindsight, I'm like, yeah, had I loved myself a little bit more, I wouldn't end up with most of the jokers I was with. And I say that in love, right? I wouldn't have ended up with most of them, which is why I'm single now, because your girl has learned. You know what I mean? So, but that had nothing to do with them. That had everything to do with me. Because sometimes you got to say, nah, I'm good. No, thank you. Anyway, Donovan, you got anything to say before we leave here? You're on mute.
Yes, the Great Reset is here. Black men and black women, what we did in the past and all that other stuff, we can't continue to go that path, or we're going to be destroyed. They've already marginalized us enough to where we're at each other's throats. We're gentrified out of areas that have been historically black. We've got representation that is crap. We have no political voice, basically. You got people that look like us, but they don't represent us. So we have to reset and get back to basics. And, you know, and that's the whole thing. If we like it or not, depending on who the messenger is, I am a firm believer the Great Reset is here. This is our chance to get back to basics and to get back to what, you know, we need to do to survive. And the only way we're going to survive is to do it together. That's it.
Oh, boy. Like when I see comments like this, I'm like, do I want to be nasty? Do I want to be nice nasty? Or do I just want to let it go?
Nice kid. You can call me.
You know what I'm saying? I just like... I see, this is how like I have to vibrate higher. I really do. Because some would say the Aries in me or the fool in me or whatever it is would just, man, razor blades and lemon juice. But I have to elevate higher because I know some people don't know no better. Because ain't nobody never seen me swirl with nothing. Matter of fact, only thing I like swirled is my ice cream. Chocolate and vanilla, chocolate and strawberry. That's about it. But ain't nobody seen me swirl. But anyway, you know, and what if I was a swirler? What you gonna do about it? If I roll my black ass in some milk, what is you gonna do about it? You ain't gonna do nothing about it. See, y'all be on here and I not staying in your lane, okay? See, I'm up here and I'm transparent what I'm doing, but what you doing? Some tell me you probably got a white woman or a white man, I don't know, but that either one is your business. But if I was a swirler, which I'm not, what is you gonna do about it? Yes, I said is. You ain't gonna do. You fill in the blank. And I got another question I want to address. Nice, nasty, or just let it go. I'm going to let Donovan decide.
Go ahead and address it. It's Sunday. Why not?
I chose Pookie and Ray Ray. Dear Bernard, if I did choose Pookie and Ray Ray, why are you raising Pookies and Ray Rays? Or what, you gonna blame their mama for raising Pookies and Ray Rays? Well, what about they daddies who was not there to make sure they not a Pookie and a Ray Ray? See, I should be able to be with a man and he not be that. But see, since I was with a Pookie or a Ray Ray, now that's my fault. Yeah, some of that is my fault. But how about you, sir? Because something tells me, since you know a lot about Ray Rays and Pookies, that you delve in raising Pookies and Ray Rays. How about you not raise them to be that? How about you raise them to be good men that when they are with a good woman, because damn it, I'm a good woman. Okay, you can ask anybody that's dating me, they'll say, yeah, she a good woman. She ain't deserve nothing I did to her. So when you raising these Pookies and Ray Rays, you tell them, hey man, if you get a good one, treat her right. Why don't you do that? See, I always want to charge the woman, and I don't care what you say. Yeah, there might be 1 or 2 women out there that know he's a bad dude, but I can't think of too many women that say, yeah, man, I want you to take me through the stuff. But nah, man, when I say take me through it, I want you to ride me, you know, and put me away with. Okay, that's probably not the right example. I can't think of too many women who signs up for that. Most women hoping he gonna do what he say what he's gonna do, or be who he say he's going to be. But run around talking about women are choosing Pookies and Ray Rays, sir. I'd love to send you a link and see what you talking about. Cause something tell me it's easier to throw rocks when you just thugging. But to say people choosing Pookies and Ray Ray, I think you raising them, and that's the more of your problem than mine. Because right now I ain't with Pookie or Ray Ray.
I can say this, fellas. If you're dealing with a woman like Demetra, there's only one Demetra, but if you're dealing with a woman like Demetra, I can say this in her, it's not even a defense. It's just an automatic statement. Most of the men that she is with, have been with, she's raised their stock in life. I can say that. She's an addition, not a subtraction. I can say that.
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you right now, okay? I'll tell you right now. I do it on a stack of Bibles. Every last one of them. When I say every last one of them, was like, well, damn. Can we do this again?
Exactly.
You mean you want to take me through the stuff again? Again? I'm just saying. Man, I like, some things that's kinky, but in S&M, no, I don't think so. Em, how you doing? It says, thank you to Demetra for being a great woman. Take your flowers while you can enjoy them. I appreciate that. Timothy, don't make me jump through the screen on you talking about Thank you, African Native. I appreciate that. We have fun or whatever the case is. In fact, my feeling says Demetra better not be. I don't even know where people got that from. I know who my daddy is. My daddy would snatch every hair from the scalp of my head. Talking about daddy. Here's Brad. Y'all be like, what happened to Demetra? I'd be missing. Okay. So anyway, let me get out of here. Pan-African scam. Oh, how you doing? Says okay. But how you doing anyway? I love you too, Bernard. But yeah, don't raise my blood pressure on here. Brother Sam says, what I missed just coming. Man, I was choosing a swirler and being with Pookies and Ray Rays. Man. Anyway, let me go before I get in trouble. Miss Tiffany, how you doing? It says Kamala needs to have several seats. Yeah. Maybe somebody will talk to her and say, go on, you and Dougie, go on and live your life. Yeah. Y'all
go on, Doug.
Anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. I'm gonna let Donovan go so he can go get his big piece of chicken. Anyway, y'all have a great day. I'll see y'all tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central Time. Peace.